Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Rogue Angel's Legacy of Burning Suns is a truly wonderful character-driven co-op sci-fi adventure fighting game with truly captivating experience. In this quick video I will show you how to set up a game board, how to set up your characters, how to set up enemies, and I will explain all features and their meaning that you can find on character sheets, action cards, dice, enemy behavior cards, damage cards, and the game board itself. By the way, before we carry on, I would suggest you to watch Rogue Angel's game review that I've done some time ago. It will give you a great overview about the box content and may help to better understand some features that we are gonna to talk about today. Video link is in the description, but now let's crack on! Obviously, the first thing what we do in a game is we are placing appropriate map on the table. So, map number is stated in mission update or in mission brief itself. Then let's put the character sheets on a table. These are our characters. If you play alone, solo, then you must pick minimum 2 characters, but I recommend pick 4, all of them, then you will have much more fun than just playing with 2 of them. Okay, we are placing character sheets. Then we have a standees for each character. For now, let's place them next to the character sheets. And then we have action cards. Each character have 7 action cards, and you may get some additional cards through the game itself, making certain choices and certain decisions in the game. Then we have enemy behavior cards. These are these cards, these big cards, and they determining how enemies will behave, how they will move, and how they will interact, or how they will attack our characters in the game. And all that is regulated by a specific mission update or a specific mission brief, which tells us which behavior card to choose, to pick for certain mission. So, and then we have damage cards. Obviously, damage cards because enemies will deal damage. If they breach your shield, your character shield, then you got damage. And then these damage cards are placed on a time tracker. Next thing, what we must do before setting up the game, during the setting up the game, we must place appropriate tracker tokens on a shield and on focus points for each character. And each character starts with a full shield and a full amount of focus points. In some missions, we have spaceship, and the spaceship have fields as well where you can move walls and certain compartments which serve different purposes that are determined obviously in mission update or mission brief itself. And you place that spaceship usually on a one or another side of the map, so like kind of expanding your map sideways. So for now, let's put it here. Okay, next thing, let's take a look at character sheets. Character sheets consist of portrait, character name, and character class, and character specific ability. It should not be forgotten. This ability is very important. Some characters can perform this action every turn as additional action, but some characters can perform that action once per mission. It depends on the character. Yeah. Next thing is a focus that allows you to reroll 1 dice for 1 focus point, and this is a focus track. And next we have a shield that allows you to block incoming damage. 1 damage can blocked by 1 shield. And then we have a scars tracker. And you may take scars during missions. Actually, some characters, like for example this one, Giaconin, has this special adaptation and overcome ability, which gives that character ability at the beginning of the mission. Get one temporary personality token for each scar that this character has. So scars, not always they are bad, sometimes they are beneficial. Next one is this activation token. You track activation of the character with this one. And then we have a cooldown track where you place your action cards or damage cards if you get damage. Each character has legacy folder that tracks relationship with other character classes that are changing depending on your actions and choices during the campaign. Then there's a legacy sticker sheet. From there you can get some boost options for action cards if you get them as rewards during the missions. And then is a legacy story of that character itself. Okay, let's talk a little bit about action card features. They have a cooldown cost, title and image of the action type, action description. So it describes the action, what you actually can do with this action card. Then each and every action card has dice indicator, and this is a different for different cards. Some cards have I don't have on this character that one, but some cards have 0. For example, this one have a 0 dice indicator. That means you cannot roll the dice with this card. But in this case, for example, you can roll 2 dice like that, and then read what's rolled on this die, and correspondingly add those actions to your action here. Okay, next important thing what we have on action cards are these personality boosts, which can be used to boost your action using your personality tokens. These tokens, which are given for each mark. As I have 2 marks on this red personality field, and accordingly 2 tokens, I can use 1 token, and instead of dealing 4 damage using this card, now I can deal +1 damage. That means I can deal 5 damage. So, but this token in this case is used, and you should discard it. Okay, and last thing on a card what we have is a card classification. In this case, this is a weapon. Okay, we already touched the thing which is called dice. Okay, and this is very important because you will gonna use dice pretty much doing any action except those ones which are not requiring dice roll. For example, this card doesn't require dice roll. But let's talk about dice. If you roll +1, that means you can increase the value of any number in a brackets. For example, for this card, if you decide to deal damage 3 with this card and play this card here, and you roll +1, that means you can add 1 plus this number 3. Okay, what happens if you roll number 2? Number 2 is the same as a +1, only this time you add 2 to your action. In this case, you can add 2 plus 1. That means you can move 3 squares. Okay, +1 or shield allows you to choose between adding the 1 to your action or using a shield and increase shield by 1. Shield. Shield doesn't allow you to do anything else as only gaining 1 shield here on shield tracker. In this case, if you roll +1 or move, you can either add 1 to your number in brackets on the card here, and for example deal 1 + 1 damage. That means deal damage to adjacent enemy, or deal 1 damage and use that move as a movement of your character, either before or after dealing damage. And obviously, if you got 2 moves per dice, that means you can use that combination only to move your character. Okay guys, here I have a couple of enemy standees here without bases, but we don't need them for now. Let's talk a little bit about enemy stats. This is a range which determines in what range this enemy can attack our character. Next one is movement stat, which determines how much of the fields this enemy can transpath. This enemy has 3, so if it stands on this field, it can go like that. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. Okay, next stat is a damage, which determines how much damage this enemy will inflict on your character. And there are blockable damage, like in this case, if this enemy will attack this character will block this one damage. If this character would have 0 shield, then this damage would go through, and then you must draw the damage card and place it in a cooldown tracker and follow the description on the card. Some damages are unblockable. Like for example, in this case, this mech has 1 unblockable damage, and if, say, this enemy would attack this character, then damage would go through this shield. Even if that character would have full shield, like 2 of the shield, anyway, this damage would go through, and then you should pick damage card and place it in a cooldown tracker. Next stat what enemies have is a shield, and it acts absolutely the same way as your character shield. It blocks number of damage. In this case, this enemy blocks 2 of your damage. So to get through that shield and actually inflict damage on this enemy, you must deal either unblockable damage or damage of 3, 4 or more to get through that shield. And next common thing what all enemies have, it is hit points. In this case, this enemy have 4 hit points. Next interesting thing what some enemies have is this kind of evasion ability. If you target this kind of enemy, and it is obviously stated in any mission and mission update, and if you roll, say if you roll shield, then this enemy avoids your attack. Okay, let's take a look at enemy behavior cards. Top section describes the condition for the enemy that may alter its behavior or trigger the third sequence. So, in this case, if the activated enemy is at full health, use this third sequence instead. In this case, all of these enemies, if they are on full health, they will use this action instead of first one or second one. Okay, and then we have a first sequence. This is action that will be performed by enemy with lowest initiative. In this case, enemy with lowest initiative is enemy with number 1. Initiatives, these are those numbers. If this enemy is killed, then obviously the lowest initiative will be 2, and so on. And then we have a second sequence. These are those actions that will be performed by enemy with second lowest initiative. In this case, with number 3. If we have 3 enemies, then this one will have a first lowest initiative, and then these 2 will follow this sequence. And the last thing about enemies and damages are damage cards themselves. So, damage cards have cooldown cost, damage name, then it states what you do when you draw the card, then it states what is ongoing effect while it sits in your character's cooldown track. Okay, and then that card states what you must do when you discard. Okay, very important component of this game obviously is map itself, where all action take place. Every map has a map number. Then we have a turn tracker here, how much turns we have for each mission. We can track them here. Then we have a compass for orientation, and then we have walls and other components, of course. Walls are not transpassable. You cannot go through the walls. You cannot see through the walls. You can perform some actions, some interactions and special abilities through the walls, but they are specifically stated on your action cards. Walls blocking your line of sight. You cannot see through the walls. For example, if this character stands here, it cannot see anything through these red lines. These are walls. This character can only see and have line of sight in this direction here, to these fields. There are some situations when we have diagonal walls. You still cannot see through them. You cannot stand on this field with this wall. You can stand only on fields with these dots. Okay, but you have line of sight kind of going parallel to this wall. Yeah, and you can shoot like parallel and deal damage parallel to this wall. It's not blocking your line of sight and damage to this direction. But otherwise it acts like a normal wall. You cannot go through it, and you cannot see through that wall. Okay guys, there are common items in this game. Most common item in this game are doors. They can be placed between walls, as it is stated in a mission brief. So each mission states where you put those specific items. And doors act like walls before they are successfully opened by interaction. To successfully open the door, for example, with the interaction, you must have line of sight going actually through that door. If I stand here, then I cannot interact with this door. For example, if I have interaction ability with a range of 3, then 1, 2, 3 is a little bit too short. I must stand at least somewhere here to get the interaction 1, 2, 3 behind of the door. Okay, the next common thing in this game, there are consoles that must be interacted and disabled. So they all look like that, and they can be placed in different places in this game. And then we have canisters. Oh, this item is real fun. It explodes, and explosion range is determined by again mission brief or mission update, which states how much fields around that barrel, that canister, damage will go. Really cool stuff. Okay guys, the last thing what I would like to show you is how to actually set up the map following mission brief. So this is a C38 mission, and mission layout states that we must pick map number 3, map number 003. So okay, we got the map, we put that on the table. Then it tells place 2 doors. I must take 2 doors, and I must place them in these places here, and another one there. And then I must put 1 console on this square, And then I must place 4 fuel barrels. One here, another one here, third one over there, and fourth one here next to the console, but on the other side of the wall. So all these objects are placed following this map layout. Then mission brief states that I must pick team-sized Nightbanes going into red 1 to 4. And as I'm playing with the 4 characters, then I must pick 4. If you play with 2 characters, then you must pick 2 of them and use number 1 and number 2. If you use 3 characters, then you must pick 1, 2, and 3 enemies. Team size enemies. Next, I must put those Nightbanes in following squares. Over here, red 4 over here, red 1 put here, red 2 on this field. And then I must take team size thugs in yellow 1 to 4. Again, bases 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and I must put them accordingly to the mission layout. Okay, and the commander decide which team starts on which spot. Okay, and enemy behavior cards, there is none, because this mission is infiltration. And the last but not least one is the time tracker token placement on a time tracker itself. If you play with 2 characters, then you will gonna place on number 9, with 3 characters on number 11, and with the 4 on the time tracker number 13. Okay, mission parameters, which determine what you should do. You should disable the console. So basically in this mission you should get through these doors, unlock them, and then get here where console is, and then disable the console. But to do that you must get through the guards. For now you are disguised, and the team will stay disguised if no one on the team interacts with objects or enemies. So basically you can go blah 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 here and you are disguised, but when you will gonna start to interact with the door, to unlock the door, enemy behavior will change to the chaotic attack red. So when we will gonna interact with doors, or when we will gonna start to shoot, so enemy behavior will start to be dictated by this chaotic attack enemy behavior card. Yes, and one important thing, after all red enemies will do their turn based on this red card, in the next turn, when the enemy turn will come, you should flip the enemy behavior card on the yellow one and perform actions what yellow enemies with the yellow bases must do following these sequences, accordingly what this card states. So it's very easy to set up this game, it's very easy and really fun to play this game. If you want to see how to actually play this game with in-depth explanation about player turns, character movements, interaction with objects using this interaction bag, what we haven't touched in this video, combat, line of sight, how to play action cards, their effect, enemy movement, their damage, what are their standards, priorities, activation sequence, damage cards, and healing, how to heal that damage, then go ahead and watch that next episode that appears on the screen. But meanwhile, I wish you a great success and fun playing games, good health, peace, and I will see you in the next episode.